Hey there, Duncan here. So in this video, I'm going to be building another LinkedIn automation. So the goal, as with all of these videos on this channel, is ultimately to have a deep life where there's financial freedom, autonomy, and lots of cats, as you might be able to hear. So I have 10 cats. I want to keep them healthy and alive. That's one of my goals, but that might be different from yours. So basically, the sub goal is to use AI automation to achieve those things. A lot of people talk about AI and get very excited about it, but I think it's important to have that North Star. So, that said, what I'm going to be doing today is I saw this content on LinkedIn that performed pretty well. So let me see if I can get up the shares and comments and things. So this was posted 1 hour ago by Mark, who runs a software company. So maybe he's already automating these posts. I don't know. But basically, yeah, it's posted 1 hour ago, already has 86 reactions, 13 comments, 8 reposts. And I think one of the reasons why this works really well is that look how many people are mentioned here. There's all these people. And I haven't looked through all of them. Obviously, you can see the purple links, the ones I checked out. Basically, a lot of these people are also going to be LinkedIn content creators as well. So they're going to be more invested in this whole process. So if you mention them and you share what they're doing, then there's a good chance that they're going to be happy about that. And that's going to also have the snowball effect with the engagement. I'm sure Mark already has figured this all out. This is why he's doing it. And it's also pretty clever because you don't actually have to create any content yourself. You're just leveraging content that other people have created. So I think it's great to have this kind of curation mindset, especially when it comes to automating with AI. Because if you just create content with AI from scratch, then it's going to be the average of the internet. It was trained on the internet, so it's going to be the average of that. What it's really good at is transforming data from one format to another. So the underlying technology, as we know, is obviously it's transformer architecture, and it's kind of an interesting synchronicity there. That the best thing it's really it does at is transforming. So basically, taking long posts and summarizing them and reformatting them into this kind of format here. So again, I'm sure Mark is already using this kind of workflow, but I'm going to kind of reverse engineer it and build something here. So he's doing it in the SEO industry. So at the moment, SEO, there's lots of turbulence, there's lots of new changes each week. So as you can see here, this is for 27th of August today. And at the bottom here, it says that he sends these out every Monday for free. So, yeah, basically, and he also posts this to a newsletter. So, obviously, it's great if you can have this stream of content that people want to share and they find valuable. I think it's a great use for AI. So, basically, what we need to do is develop some streams of inputs into this process. Then we need to have a way of storing them. So I'm going to use Airtable because it's I just like it. A lot of people are familiar with it. You probably used it already. It's really easy to connect it up to other software. So like if you use Make or Zapier, it's really easy to plug it into that and then do other cool stuff with it. But it also has like a pretty easy to use API. So, I tried Notion and I found like the API is convoluted somehow compared to Airtable. Anyway, point being, so we're going to put the content into Airtable. So let me just show you. Okay, by the way, this is what LinkedIn looks like when you turn off JavaScript. Does not work at all. So we'll get to that in a second. So basically, here's an Airtable view of my other LinkedIn content process. So basically, if we look here, we've got content for me to approve. Look like I've already done it all. But basically, if I go through this, these are posts that are going to get shared on my LinkedIn at the moment it's every day, so I've got like 12 days scheduled out here. And this is what it looks like inside Airtable. And you can also create like a gallery view, which is nice, especially when you've got these images. So I can see, okay, maybe I've got 3 brain images here. Maybe I should not do that. But anyway, point being, if you want to learn how to create this kind of setup with these posts and learn more about how I did that, so another video, I'll link that in the description of this one. But basically, this is Airtable works reasonably well as this kind of content organization system. And I'm working on building out a comprehensive content system with Airtable. So taking inspiration as input, adding my own notes, thoughts, everything, taking these videos that I'm making, transforming those into posts. So I'm going to be building up towards that and showing you how to do something like that over the next few days, weeks, months. And the point today is to, let's go back to this post, is to create something like this. So I want to do this in the AI industry. So first step is to identify some LinkedIn influencers in this space. I am not actually familiar with that so much on LinkedIn because I get more of that from YouTube and X as well. Unfortunately, X, you have to, if you want to use the API to do anything other than post, then you kind of need to pay them $40,000 a month. So I'm not going to do that. With LinkedIn, it's a little bit easier to access this. So that's going to be the first step, is basically creating this list of influencers like he's got here. So there's a, looks like Brody, it's mentioned twice. And obviously we all know who John Mueller, I don't know how you say it, but he's very famous in SEO. And basically we're going to be checking these profiles on a regular interval, scraping their posts and adding those to Airtable with the date stamp, so we can say this is what's been posted this week. And then the next step would be then to have the AI. So I'm going to use Claude because Claude is awesome right now. It's the number one in my experience for especially this kind of content workflow. And that is going to then take all of these news items from different people. It's going to deduplicate them. So we want to make sure that if there's news, there's going to be multiple people mentioning it. We don't want to literally just add them here. And it's also going to transform them into a nice little snippet like this. So we've got basically like 2 or 3 sentences, and it just credits the person and it links to their profile here. So this is kind of like if you're more used to Twitter/X, then this is like app mentioning. So you can click their name and also they get notified when you do this. So they will see this post, and goes back to what I said at the start about increasing the engagement. So first step is to go and find these influencers. So I'm going to go and quickly see if I can do that. And then the next step is going to be to build the code to actually go and scrape their profiles. So LinkedIn, I already checked. They do technically have an API that allows you to do this, but one, you have to set up a OAuth application, which it's always a bit of a pain in the ass, and I think you have to get approved. And then even then, they don't actually give you full access to people's posts, even though they're public. So it's really annoying. We're going to scrape it. So to do that, we will use the cookie, because LinkedIn is a little bit, sometimes it does show you the post if you navigate someone's profile and you're not logged in. But some of the times it sends you to a login page. So what we're going to do is grab the cookies, and then we'll use those cookies to access those posts. So sounds like a lot, but we're going to break it down into steps, and it's going to be pretty simple. And we are going to use Claude and Cursor. So don't worry if you don't really have that much experience coding. It's like looks kind of intimidating when I tab over to this. Like this is some of it already built. It looks like a lot if you're not familiar with code, but with Cursor, it's so easy. You don't really need to know all of the details of what's going on. It's kind of like if you don't necessarily need to be a mechanic to know how to drive. It's helpful to kind of have a sense of like, okay, there's a engine, clutch, gearbox, but you don't need to be building every single screw or all that kind of stuff. So first thing is I'm gonna go and try and find some influences in the AI space on LinkedIn. So I'm gonna probably just fast forward through this bit, and it's a little bit boring. And if you're going to do this in your industry, whatever that is, then obviously, you need to go and do this research yourself. But it's basically just, searching LinkedIn for AI and then filtering by posts. And I can't remember if there's any nice search features here that help, but sort by, okay, we've got top match. From member. Okay, unfortunately, there's not really like any obvious ways to get kind of the influences here. So I'm going to try some other strategies. So, like I said, the fast forward this, but basically my plan is to look at influencers I already know from YouTube, from X, see if they're on LinkedIn, and also go and use Google to search for them. And I know there's also some SaaS companies that are in the LinkedIn space that basically curate these lists as a form of programmatic SEO. Okay, I've got 21. So this is the list of people that I'm going to be checking at least once a week, I guess, maybe a couple of times a week to, scrape their posts, see if they have any interesting updates that I want to share, and then basically curate those automatically and reshare them whilst crediting them. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new table. So this is going to be AI influencer posts. And I'm going to just call this post. Post. Okay. I can delete these. And then I think the way this works in Airtable is I want to link it this way around. So posts. And then it's going to be linked to another record and AI influencer posts. That's good for now. So yeah, I think that should all be good, but we'll get to that in a bit. First thing is basically just to go and access this list from Airtable inside Cursor or inside Python. So let's open Cursor. I'm gonna call this curate influencer. I can't spell influencer. Let's just not call it that. Let's just call it LinkedIn. No, that's called. So if you're not familiar with Cursor, basically the way it works is like you talk to it and you ask it to build stuff, and it builds stuff. It's pretty amazing. So basically, the first thing we're going to be doing is using Airtable. So basically, like if let's assume that I didn't know any of the process beforehand, but what I would do is press Command L, and it's going to open this chat on the right hand side here. So you can just start chatting with it and say like, I want to use Python to access my Airtable table, and then it's going to suggest how that might work. So cool. Cool, so suggesting we use PyAirtable, and firstly you have to pip install PyAirtable. So what I like to do instead of just doing pip install is I like to put it in a requirements.in file. So PyAirtable, it's already there. And basically when you do that, so you just create a file called requirements.in. When you're first doing this, you need to create a virtual environment. So just to show you what that looks like, I'll just create one somewhere else. So basically you just type Python, or I like to do a specific Python version, so it's Python 3.11 -m vnv vnv. You can call it something else, but that's just confusing. And that's created one. And then you just need to, so it actually was already inside one, so I'm just going to type deactivate. But actually you don't need to know this, because you can just say, like, in Cursor you can press Command K and then create a virtual environment, and then it'll just, yeah, basically just use the exact same command as me. Cool. So and then to activate it, so basically this just creates like a kind of folder where you put all of the Python libraries that you install in one place, and so it keeps it nicely packaged. And if you want to go put this on a server, you want to have a bunch of different Python projects, this is the way to do it. So I'm going to ask Cursor again, activate my virtual env. And it's going to type a command, which is source vnv/bin/activate, and then you just press Command Enter to run it, and now it's activated. So you want to do pip install pip tools. You don't have to do this, you can just kind of run this pip install PyAirtable, but I like to do it this way because it will save you so many problems later on down the line. So the way to do this now is you just do pip compile, and sorry, that's in the wrong place. I want to do it here. So you just type pip compile, and that will basically take this list and put it into another list that you can then install. And we don't need to know about the details of that right now. But basically that just takes a few seconds to just make sure that you've got all the right versions of stuff. And then what you do then is type pip install r requirements.txt, and it just installs all the stuff you need. Sometimes you get errors like this. This one's probably not important right now, so it's fine, but if stuff breaks, you can come back to it, and then you can ask Cursor like how to fix it. For now, what we're going to do is go back to this project we're creating here, so the curate LinkedIn file, and basically just click apply, and boom, generated a bunch of code. So what it's doing here is it's expecting you to have a .env file, which has your Airtable API key. So I'm not going to show you my env file, but the way that it looks like is, if I just call it like this, you would have, let's go back to there, see what it's expecting. So this is what it's expecting. So Airtable API key would be like this. And you basically go to Airtable and you go to Builder Hub, I think, on this menu, and then personal access tokens, you click that and then click generate token, and then you copy and paste the token it gives you into here like that, save it, and then it will be able to access it. And the reason that you do it like this instead of just copying and pasting the token and putting it in here is because security. It's better. So, because for example, like if you check this into GitHub and you decided you wanted to share it and like make it open source, then this is fine to have publicly, but your API key is not fine to have publicly. So it's one of the reasons. Anyway, right here it's expecting the base ID and table name to be stored as variables like that as well. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to hard code it in because this is like a quick thing. So we're just going to do it like that. So basically the Airtable base is the first thing after the / here. So you copy and paste that. So base ID, it's going to whack it in there. And then the table name, hello Lex. Table name is that one. And then API key. So I've been sneaky and I've got 2 different API keys. So I'm just going to change that to Airtable API key 2. And that's going to go there. So basically, we don't. It's added some code in here to like add new records and update records, but for now, I'm gonna select this and press Command K. And here's where your this cursor is really useful because I want it to basically print all the Airtable records, but don't add or update any. Cool. And then it's going to go through and change. So basically everything in red is stuff that's deleting. Everything in green is new stuff or things that's changed. So you can actually go through and click yes or no to each one by one. Or you can just click accept. And most of the time, that's fine. Some of the time, it's not, and it screws things up. But let's not worry about that for now. So, is this going to work? I'm going to clear the output there so you can see what's going on a bit better. And so what I need to do to run this is make sure the virtual environment is activated, which we already did. If it's not, you can just ask Cursor how to do it, or just press Command K and ask it to do it for you. So what I want to do now is just type Python, and then the folder where it's inside, and then it's called Curate LinkedIn. And you can just hit tab and it'll autocomplete stuff. So let's run it, see if it works. No, okay, it's broken. It does not work. So table expects non-based. So, you can try and debug this yourself, or it has this handy function here, debug with AI. So click it, and then it tries to work out what's wrong. So I was saying the error you're encountering is because it's related to how you're initializing the table object. Okay. It's saying maybe I need to upgrade PyAirtable. So I just installed it, so I probably don't. That's probably not right. Let's try clicking apply and seeing if it happens to fix it. Okay, no, it didn't fix it. So what I do here, and again, I don't want this to just turn into just like how to debug stuff with Cursor video, but Cursor has a pretty cool feature where it will read all of the documentation for a particular code library or API or whatever. So what I'm going to do is just Google PyAirtable docs, found the docs, click docs, and then you copy and paste the URL. And what you can do is you can just, because what you want to do is like give it the context of how this is supposed to work, because it's great. It uses Claude. Claude has great base knowledge of a lot of different stuff, but it always helps to give it the actual docs. In the olden days, you would copy and paste the part of the docs into the into like ChatGPT and ask it for help. Whereas now what you do with Cursor is you click, you type @docs, and then you can search. So PyAirtable. Cool. So it doesn't look like it's already there. Basically, you click add new doc and then you click enter, and then it will go through and read all the docs, store it, and then from here on in, you can just mention PyAirtable. So let's try that. basically that didn't work. Please fix. Let's try that. This is maybe not the best way to do it, but it's probably going to work fine. So cool. So basically now what it's done is it's actually read these pages of the docs, and let's see if it works. Cool. So we made some changes, and let's try. Cool. Unauthorized. So maybe we are doing something wrong with the API key. So normally I would just go look at it, but because I don't really want to show you my Airtable API key, what I'm going to do is ask Cursor to make this a dictionary reference instead of get. So that's going to force this to break if the key isn't there. Okay, so it just started working. That was unexpected. I don't know why that worked, but it seems like it did. Anyway, not complaining. Sometimes that just happens. Maybe there's a typo there or something. So basically, that's now working. So you can see here, like if I go back to my Airtable, Airtable, hello, cool. So we've got name, LinkedIn profile, URL, and then we've got nothing there. So this is now showing me fields. We've got record ID, which is handy because if we want to update it, we can reference that. And then we got fields, name, David Mallon from CS50. Okay. And then LinkedIn profile URL. So now we can use this to go and get some stuff from LinkedIn. So we can go for each one of these URLs, we can go and scrape their LinkedIn posts. So the next step is we'll just leave this as it is. Let me see if we need to do anything else to kind of make this useful. Get Airtable records. So at the moment this needs to be made a little bit more general so that we can use it to, because what we want to do is like get the list and then we want to update another table. So I'm going to say I actually have two tables in Airtable. This first one is a list of LinkedIn influencers. So make the code ready to accept two different ones. That's pretty badly explained, so it might not work. But this is the thing with Cursor, it's generally pretty good. So I think it's basically worked out what I want, which is great. So let's see what it actually does. So influences, posts, we'll just get rid of that for now. And then, yeah, we don't need that. Let's just see if it still works. You see how quick this is, yeah, it still works. But now it's like a little bit more of a solution that's applicable to doing multiple things. So that's great. And now what I want to do is I'm going to go and get some posts from LinkedIn. So I had to take some notes on this one because LinkedIn is a little bit finicky and I don't really want to kind of make you sit through all the debugging to get this to work. It's actually not that hard once you know the path through. So hopefully I can save you some time here. Basically, I'm just going to run you through this code. So what we're doing here is we are using Playwright, which is basically a way of controlling the Chrome browser. Because remember earlier on I said if you go to LinkedIn and you turn off JavaScript, yeah, it looks like that. So it just doesn't do anything, which sucks for like people with disabilities and who want to use screen reader. Anyway, we're not doing that right now. Point is, we want to load the JavaScript because basically if you go to someone's profile and then you click view posts, it's going to take you to this URL. So that's my profile and this is my post. So if I turn back on JavaScript, it should hopefully load. There we go. So it loads, and you can see one of my posts that was generated through my AI-based system. Someone left a comment. What did they say? Interesting. Okay, we got another AI person commenting on this. Maybe they used AI to comment on it. Cool. Maybe I should add him to my influencers. Anyway, point being, this is what it looks like. And you get this list of posts. And the way that this works is what you need to do is what we're going to do is like go through and click more and just copy this post and put that into Airtable. So if I go through here, what we're doing is we're using Playwright to load the JavaScript, and you can see basically what this does is we go to the profile URL and we add on recent activity /all, and then we use this little bit of nifty JavaScript here, which extracts it. And this is pretty cool to me because I don't really know JavaScript at all. Like I know a little bit of Python, but JavaScript is something that I've generally managed to avoid somehow. And this was like, I don't know how it was really, I wouldn't have been able to write this myself. So that's pretty cool. Cursor just did that. And actually, like one of the cool things you can do in Cursor is like explain this code step by step. And sometimes that's helpful, like especially if you have, you're using like a script that someone else has made. So we got like we're importing Playwright, some of these different libraries, loading the environment variables. So we need the session cookie. And the way that works is if you go ahead and just using Chrome, if you search for Chrome, cookies.txt, you can install this. And then when you're on LinkedIn, you can go through and it'll give you a list like this. And all these blurred out things here, you can just copy and paste that. And you'd put it in an environment variable like this. So with this one, I would go curate LinkedIn, get LinkedIn posts. And this one, you basically just put it in here like that. And then it would access it. And that's basically what it's doing. So at the moment, like for example, if I go and put my own, if I can spell my own name, Trevor is thick. Then what that's going to do is it's going to basically just print out my posts. So if I do Python LinkedIn authority post / get LinkedIn posts, it's going to go ahead and open up Chrome in the background, and it's going to visit my profile. It's going to use my cookies that we just talked about just now, and it is going to just print them to the terminal here. So we got number of posts extracted, and then here's the first one. That's one you just saw. Second one, cool. So basically, that's great. So what I'm going to do is add, because what we want to do is kind of import this code into my curate LinkedIn script and do this for all of the URLs that are in Airtable that we just got from Airtable. So I'm just going to tell Cursor to add a new function to take a list of LinkedIn URLs and iterate through them and return their posts. Also for now, for debugging, print their posts too. And looks like we are good to go. So LinkedIn profile URLs is going to take a list and go ahead and do that. So basically, now what's going to happen is, because I have this main function here, if I just run this code like I showed you, it's going to run it with just my profile and just go ahead and get those posts. But if I import it in here, so like I can just ask like import my get LinkedIn posts, and cool. So it's just added that. And so now, get LinkedIn posts. So what I should be able to do is now just select this and then say use, maybe I don't even have to reference it. I can just, it will hopefully just work it out. So get the LinkedIn posts for these influencers based on profile URLs. Accept. And cool. So we can see here, like this with these squiggly underlines, we haven't imported this async IO library, which is, you don't need to install because it's part of the standard library. But if you click AI fix in chat, then it's probably going to fix that for us. So we just click apply, and all it did is actually write import async IO. So could have done that myself, but we're using Cursor. Now what it's going to hopefully do, if I run curate LinkedIn, we've got, okay, no module found LinkedIn authority posts. So LinkedIn authority posts. I think we can just remove that. I think I got a little confused there. Let's try that. Total influencers, LinkedIn posts, none. Okay, so it didn't quite work. We did get the number of influencers, but it doesn't seem like it's actually going through each influencer. So total influencers, LinkedIn profiles, so I'm just gonna like, let's just print that, because maybe it's not working. No, okay, so it did not get that, because it's just kind of made this up, like it's not actually called that. So what do we call it? In Airtable, where's Airtable? Too many tabs. This one. Gave it a nice, computer-friendly name. So hopefully, if I just paste that in there and then run it again, hopefully now, nope, did not work. And if, okay, that's why, because it needs to do it twice. Okay, so now it's working. So we've got, or at least it's able to return that list of the influencers. Cool, and it's working. So we've got all these posts, and we are now iterating through and adding them. So the next thing to do is to go ahead and add them to a table in Airtable. Now, tricky thing here is like I got to figure out a way to make them unique because I think Airtable probably isn't going to like it if I try and make it unique based on the whole text. If you don't quite understand what I'm talking about here, what I'm saying is that we want to go ahead and create these posts here, right? So what I don't want to do is have a bunch of duplicates. So I need to figure out a way to make it unique. But for now, just to kind of get this working, what I'm going to do is basically just add all of the ones that it finds into this table. So we don't actually need this name. Can't tell you that. Okay, can we make this the... Basically, I want to make this like the primary field, but... Okay, I'm just going to leave that there for now. So now what I want to do is go ahead and add each post. So remember, Cursor already created this constant here, so we can go ahead and Airtable/table and save that one there, and add Airtable record. Cool. So this is awesome, Cursor. Like it's already guessed what I'm gonna do next. So how do I actually? I forgot how you. Because the thing is, I already selected it. Anyway, I'm gonna. So it's funny. It guessed what I was gonna do next, but I can't figure out how to get it to accept that. So yeah, what I need to do is add. Let's select this. Add each post to the, what's it called? Posts table. Cool. It looks mostly correct, except for I think we've got these field names because it doesn't actually have any way of finding that out from Airtable. To be fair to Cursor, so the content is, I just got the post source, influencer, influencer. That's the link to that record. So let's call this influencer. It's so hard to spell influencer. Why is that? My brain just doesn't want to remember it. Okay, let's see if that works. So remember, we are logging into LinkedIn. We're getting the list of influencers from Airtable. We're logging into LinkedIn. Now we're going through and getting their post content. So now the question is that going to get saved in Airtable? No. So I wonder if this is something to do with the, it's not able to find the right influencer. Let's see. Influencer found. Influencer not found. Cool. So let's just see if it's like finding the influencer in the other table, because obviously we want it to be linked back so we can then credit them and hopefully get them, sharing the post and things. So I'm not seeing that. It's kind of annoying that it's printing the posts now. So I think that's happening actually over here. So we want to just remove the print. We don't want that. So going through this again, fetching post for LinkedIn. So page is found. Okay. I just want to see if it's passing the actual post through as well. So, because it might be, might not be actually getting through. So cool. So fetching posts. So hopefully we should see that getting printed again. Sometimes you just have to kind of like pick at it to see. Okay, so I see what's happening. So like it's going and getting all of the posts first. So maybe that wasn't the best approach because now I can't tell if it's working until it's done all of them. All posts, yeah, that was silly of me. So okay, so the way Cursor has set this up is like it first gets every single post first, and then it goes through. So get multiple LinkedIn posts. So what I might do is just for kind of debugging purposes, let's just add a limit. Add an optional limit to the number of profile for testing. So probably what it's going to do is, yeah, cool. So we added a parameter there. And then we have the option to add a limit. So if I go back here to get multiple LinkedIn profile posts, limit, let's say, yeah, one person. Then we should get a chance to actually test this. So it should just be going to this guy here and stopping there and then returning that list and then getting all the posts. So hopefully still with me at this point. So we have, okay, total posts 0. Cool. Let's try limit like 3 and hopefully the next person has some posts. Otherwise, maybe there's something wrong with the, like it's not getting the posts when it should be. So sorry if this part is a little bit boring, but I do want to show you, step by step how you actually do this. Cool. So we found apparently 5 posts, and then this is third one. So okay. So we're now going through and adding posts to the other Airtable table. So let's see what is happening. Cool. So that's basically all working, which is pretty cool. I kind of didn't expect it to work, but so we got influencer name, and that links to that record in the AI influencers table. At the moment, we're not giving the posts don't have a name, so it just says unnamed post. But cool. So what I'm gonna do now is remove the limit and go ahead and so I'm just gonna delete these for now, and then I'm gonna go ahead and run this without a limit, get all of the posts, and then come back and I'm going to figure out a way to make this unique so we don't have duplicates. And also, another thing is getting the post time. So for example, like Lex's post here, let's see. So you go to show all posts. LinkedIn likes to show you the post time like this, which is kind of annoying. I don't know if there's any like behind the scenes whether it kind of has the yeah, we'll figure something out there. Because basically we need to. It'd be nice if it just had the like date time it was published there, but doesn't appear to be there. So And then the other thing is kind of having like a unique link. So basically you have to click this button and it copies it to the clipboard using JavaScript. So we might be able to use that. And then you get this like unique link like this, but it doesn't appear to be actually like inside the code here because sorry, it's on the side like this. I normally don't do that. Basically, we've got this link. It seems to take you to a different link. I think that's just the profile link. So that's the profile link. This one where you would think it's kind of the post link, it just takes you to the profile, which is really annoying. So I'll figure something out with that. I'll come back. I missed it the first time around, but if you look in the code and go up to the box, the div that has the each post inside it in the feed, you can see there's actually this value here, which is like the unique ID of the post content. So it's got data dash URN equals, and then it's got this like LinkedIn API variable here, which if I had access to the LinkedIn API, I could use to get the link of the post, which would be nice, but they restrict that. So for now, I'm just going to use this as a unique identifier. And in Airtable, go back over to my core content, Airtable base, I've added LinkedIn post ID here. And then this is like that, and I could maybe make this the main, like the primary key of the Airtable base and put it here, instead of having this blank name field. But I have a feeling that I'm probably gonna, in the future, want to have other kinds of other platform content. So maybe I don't want LinkedIn post ID. I'm just gonna leave it like this for now. This is gonna work. It'll be fine. So you can see these are all unique identifiers. And now what I've asked Cursor to do is update my code so that when I'm getting the posts, I don't want any duplicates. So basically what Cursor did is it's added this function, and it says new function here, so maybe I don't need that because it's not always going to be new. So it's added this function here. It says post exists, and it's created the Airtable formula here that basically checks, does this post already exist? And then down here, it basically says if the post doesn't already exist, create it. Super simple. Great. So now, oh, and by the way, to actually extract that, again, I asked it to, I went and found this manually, like when I found, okay, there's this data URN parameter, there's this ARIA label parameter, and I just told Cursor, hey, like, check for elements that are called that, and then it wrote all this JavaScript here. So it's basically, so that's where it clicks the see more button. Okay, this one is where it gets the data URN. And if it can't find it, if it can't find that in there, then it just skips it. And I kind of can work that out from reading the code, but like I said, don't really know JavaScript, so it's really nice that it just wrote this for me. Like if I was going to do this myself, I would have to do it in Python, and I'd use Selenium. And it seems like doing it with Playwright and writing this JavaScript through Cursor has been quicker, which is great because we like speed. Speed is good. So that is where that's got to. So now I'm getting the, this is what it's extracting. So it's obviously got the post still, and then it's also got the unique ID and the ARIA label. So now, obviously I'm only getting the post from like this week, but what I need to do is go ahead and turn this into a date value, because I want to have a, let's call it like original, or just call it post date. And I want a date field. Don't need the time. I want European date. And that's going to be blank for now. So then what I'm going to ask Cursor to do is say, awesome. Now, also in the Python part of the code, because I don't want it to like try and do this in the JavaScript inside the Playwright code. That's going to confuse me. So I need to translate natural language date diff values that are returned inside aria label, because that's the name of the element. So, and then I'll tell it the format. So in the format, so 4 days ago or 1 day ago. And return as date values. Okay. Let's see what it does with that. Again, like you can see, it's a lot about how you put together the prompt. I'm really not trying that hard to make great prompts here. And, hopefully that shows you how like you don't need to, it's such a powerful tool because you can like really write not that great a prompt and it will still work most of the time. So what we have is, what is it doing? Okay, so it's kind of added some stuff here that maybe doesn't need because we don't actually have yesterday or today. We only really have day or days. But basically, like we're importing this date time library and time delta, which is like telling the difference between two different dates. Which is what it needs to obviously do here because it's like if it's 1 day ago, then we need to know what day it is today and then subtract 1 day from that. So we should now be cool. So we added a post date field. So let's just see if that works. So now when I just run this kind of test of it with my own profile, it should return the post that was posted this week with the date as well. Cool. So we got a date time object here, 24/8. So it's 8 is August, 24 is 24th, and it says 4 days ago. And today is August 28th. So boom. 1 day ago, August 27th. Awesome. So now I just need to go over to my curate LinkedIn script here, which goes and adds this to LinkedIn, to Airtable. And whilst I was struggling to get on my words, it's already worked it out here and suggested it. So I should just be able to hit tab and boom. So like I didn't even have to ask it, it just guessed correctly. So the only thing is that I don't know if Airtable, the way this is set up with Airtable, whether it will accept the date in this format, but let's see. So to run this, I need to make sure that I'm not doing all of the profiles because that takes a while to go through like 21 profiles. So I'm just going to put the limit in there like it suggested. Go ahead and run this. It's called LinkedIn story post / curate. Cool. So it's going to go through there. Oh, maybe I should just do 3. Let's just do 3. Just for speed here. So we should. So we're getting the posts. The only thing is like all these posts are already going to exist. So the simplest thing here is just to delete some of these posts. I'll just delete all of them because we actually want. Cool. So we're getting some posts, and the way this works is that it goes through all of them first, and then once it's downloaded all of the posts, then it goes through and processes them and uploads them to Airtable. So let's go ahead and So it looks like we've got 4 posts there. Cool, so we got an error. And I'm guessing this is going to be to do with the date. So I could go through that and try and debug it, but I'm just going to click debug with AI. Cool, and it's like I guess said. So the error you're encountering is you just trying to serialize a date object to JSON. To fix this, you need to convert the date object to a string. Cool, so let's do that. Cool. So now it's formatting it as a date. Converts it to ISO format. So hopefully that doesn't mean that it does it the wrong way around, because obviously in America, you guys do your dates the wrong way around. Sorry. You have a lot of good things going, like freedom of speech, and you get to go shoot guns in the forest whenever you want, but you have imperial measurements and the date's the wrong way around. So, come see, comes up. So, looks like it's worked, and let's see if it's actually in Airtable now. Awesome, so we have the date there. Perfect, so that's all working. So now, what we need to do is actually do something with all these posts that we're collecting. Here's the post that we're taking some inspiration from. So basically, we're trying to format the news in this kind of summary format. So the best way to do this is to transform each one by one, and then when we're collating it into a single post, make sure that there's no duplicate news stories. Oh, and also we need to make sure that it is actually like a shareable news story, because often people post like personal news or just self-promotional things that's like news about their company, for example, which we don't care about. We just care about industry news. So I'm going to use a LLM. If you are picking an LLM, I would recommend Claude, just because it's the best right now, but GPT-4 is also pretty good, and I happen to have a bunch of credits from Microsoft. Thank you, Microsoft. So I will use GPT-4 for this, but it's the exact same thing. The structure of how you prompt it is almost identical. The API is almost identical. So let's go ahead and do that. So what I'll do now is ask Claude to. I'm going to use the chat for this, because I find that if you use the code generation, then sometimes the code generation with Command K is great if you just want to add a single function, but if you're kind of importing stuff and taking into account more of the code, the chat seems to work better. So I'm going to say, now I want to use the Azure OpenAI LM GPT-4 to process each post, taking the post as input and first filtering it to decide if it's a news item or not, and if it is, then pass it again into another GPT-4 prompt to summarize it. So I mean, it's kind of summarizing. We'll add to that in a bit, but for now, that's basically the structure. So what we're going to do here is Cool. So it's gonna basically import the OpenAI library for Python. So we're gonna apply this. Cool. So importing that, then we need to get the basically create the client. So how do we actually access OpenAI? So if you're using it via Azure, like I am, because like I said, got those credits from Microsoft, then you need to set the endpoint. But if you're just using regular OpenAI directly, then you don't need that. You just need the API key and the API version. And then here we've created these functions here. So basically, like, is it a news item? And you could do this with excuse me, you could do this with JSON mode, but for this it doesn't really need to happen. You can just have yes or no in text, and this prompt might need to be updated because sometimes like it adds some preamble to the output. Like it'll be like I have analyzed the post and the answer is yes, when you just want it to say yes. So we'll try this. Hopefully that works as is. And we've got summarize news item, and then basically, summarize the following news item from LinkedIn in 2-3 sentences, and then it returns the output from there. So that should all work. Now, I can't remember if that's actually in my if I've actually saved these in my environment file. You would need to go ahead and do that, like I showed you before. You basically just put the values of your OpenAI key and endpoint if you're using it via Azure, and then it'll get picked up there. So now did it actually? Cool. So summarize. Cool. So basically, the way it's doing it is like if it's a news item, it adds a summary. What we really want it to do is just not add it at all. Don't skip post entirely if it's not news, because we're not interested in those other posts. So so let's just do that. Cool. So basically, if it finds the influencer, so because we want it to be linked, that checks that first, then it goes and checks, is this a news post? And if it is, it continues as normal. So fields, I mean, we don't really need that. And then it's adding the summary here. So let's add a summary field to Airtable. And this one will be long text summary. I'm going to put it there. So so let's try this. I'm going to just delete those posts again. So we could set this up so that it like overwrites the posts if they don't have a summary and just adds the summary, but like there's not much point doing that other than kind of demoing it right now. So cool, missing credentials. So looks like I'm going to have to go and find my API keys there, and I'm going to pause a second. I've added my API key. Let's see if this now creates some summaries. So again, going through all of these posts, getting the time, getting the unique ID, and now we should be passing the post content through checking if it's news, and then creating a summary. So I expect that we'll have to tweak these prompts Okay. We got another error from. Oh, did I not set the deployment name? Yeah, so this is just stuff like you won't have to worry about this if you're using like OpenAI, their own API. I'm just because I'm using it through Azure, it's got these extra things here, and I'm just trying to add a bracket here. Why won't it? Okay. Let's try that. So it skipped non-news posts. Let's see if it found any posts that aren't news. But it does seem to be working in that sense. Cool. So it kind of thinks they're all news. Oh, sorry. It thinks they're all not news. So let's just see. So basically, we might need to just debug this a bit here because I'm wondering if it might not be actually just returning yes. Yeah. So, like I said, it might be saying it might be adding some preamble to the output from OpenAI. It might be like saying, "I've looked at this post, and yes, it's a news item." And because we're checking, does it equal yes? That's it. So like if it has a space or it has, oh no, space is fine. But if we have like, okay, no, that's not the issue. It's just saying no, 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 no. Okay. So, okay, maybe these are like not really news items. I just want to test the I just want to test the summary feature though. So for now I'm just going to say return true. So kind of like just testing this so that it doesn't skip them. And then I can see like, is it at least if it thinks it's news, will it do a summary? Will it save the summary to Airtable? And at least we know if that bits are working. Because then what I can do is like run through, all 100 influencers and see if they're, if any of them come through as news. So. Cool. So now it's saying it added a post. So let's see. Cool. So this one, a comprehensive 4-point-hour digital course titled generative. Yeah. So basically, that's self-promotional. That's not news. Cool. Promotes learning and teaching and promotes a newsletter. So again, promoting a course. Reflects on the joy they find in public speaking. Course. Yeah, so it looks like, yeah, these are all kind of self-promotional. So what I'm going to do, let's delete those. It looks like it probably is doing the right thing. At least I can see like they are getting added to Airtable. So what I'm going to do is remove the limit and go ahead and let this run. And obviously it's going to take a while because, there's a limit to how fast you can scrape a website like LinkedIn. If there was no limits, if we could just use the API or they didn't have anything in place to detect and stop you getting access to this public data, then we could just have like 100 concurrent browser sessions or this kind of thing. We can't. So I'm gonna sit back, enjoy my coffee, let this run, and I'll join back up with you when this is done, okay? So I moved outside and this has worked. Well, it's kind of worked. We need to improve the prompts, but that's kind of expected because Claude just came up with a basic prompt. And anyway, I didn't really tell it any more instructions about the prompts. But it has worked because if we go through here, it does look like these are all news. So we have okay, and this one's not really news. We need to be more specific that we don't want like that someone's going to be speaking at a conference. This one, a recent study from Wharton found that students who use AI tutors, that's news. And then we summarized it like this, but the summary needs to be shorter. Then these are AI trends. Here's everything you need to know. Okay, well, there's actually nothing in there. So what did it say? Okay, that's funny. Like, there's nothing in there, and it's turned it into like somehow more, but still saying nothing. So we need to fix that. I'm guessing this was like a carousel post, and obviously we're not getting the PDF content, and we maybe could, but that's really unnecessary because there's other ones. The US saw nearly 50,000. Probably shouldn't say that on YouTube. And now they're turning to AI for help. Cool. That's news. And then we got there's also some kind of saying it's in the newsletter, but I guess these things are still news items, so maybe that should be going in there. And then someone promoting their own company, not really. And then this one, there's some new laws in the US. That is, I would say that's news. So basically, we just need to improve those prompts. And then what we need to do is give it some examples of the kinds of summaries that we want. So let's go ahead and do that. So curate LinkedIn, search for prompt. Is this following a news item? Cool. So, okay, let's go to the summary first. I'm gonna make this a multi-line text so it's easier to see. Here are some examples of the style and format of the summary you will be creating. So I'm just going to give it a few more of these examples. So I'm not copying the via part at the end because this needs some special treatment here. This is like a at mention, LinkedIn's version of an at mention. So I don't exactly know how we insert this, so I'm gonna not do that right now. So I'll just give it like 4 examples. Try and find one that doesn't have Google in it. I'm going to just add up his summarize the following news item from LinkedIn in 2 sentences in the style of the examples. provided examples. So hopefully that kind of reminds it about the system prompt. Like with these LLMs, you kind of have to like say something more than once if you want it to really do it consistently. Cool. And then with the summary, we need to be more specific about like what a news item is. So I'm just going to say specifically, you are looking for news about AI that is not self-promotional. For example, cicadas got way too loud outside. So the next step here is basically taking the summaries of the different news items and then assembling those into a single post that we can share on LinkedIn. I had a look at how we can do at mentions, and it's kind of annoying. It's one of those weird LinkedIn things where you, even though obviously inside Airtable we have the LinkedIn profile addresses here, you can't use that to at mention someone, nor can you just use their name. You have to use their unique ID from LinkedIn. And it seems like the only way to get that is through an API call, and I'm not even sure if it's actually publicly available, even if you get approved for a developer account and register an application, all that sort of So I'm going to, for now, leave that out, and I need to review these posts anyway. So basically what I'll do is, for now, I'll go through once it's posted and just add those at mentions. And that's going to be pretty easy because the name of the person is going to be there. So I just need to edit the post and then put the at sign in front of it. And then it should just auto-populate with the right person. So the next step is to create another table in Airtable. And I've created this LinkedIn news table with a post ID. So that's just another auto number field in Airtable. I mean, you don't really need this, but it's just the easiest field to have as a primary key. So then this should not be called notes. This should be called post. And then that's a long text field. Then we've got the LinkedIn post ID approved, which is just a checkbox, so true or false, posted, and then the date created. Because what I want to do is have this scheduled out. So I'll use make so that like every week on a Tuesday, maybe it'll check and it'll just find the most recent one and it'll post that. Because the way that this is going to work is it'll check for the updates from the influencers regularly, and then there'll be another job that comes through and checks for the latest news, adds it into a post, and then once a week it'll post that. So that's the reason there's a date here. So let's go ahead and do that. So head back over to cursor, and then what I want to do is just grab the ID of the table here. So core content, it's called, again, this is the table one. So let's call this the output table, I guess. Post to share table ID, and then save that. And then what we want to do is probably want to have this as a separate no, this can go here. So again, this is cursor being, this is how awesome it is sometimes. So like we have this get post to share function here that's suggesting. So that's not quite right. Because what we want is probably something like selecting by the date. So let's do function to get the posts from the last seven days from the posts table in Airtable. And then using the post date field. So in the past, I've had issues with dates in Airtable and filtering, but that was before I was using Cursor. So hopefully it's just kind of it gets the right filter context. So we've got we're just adding the import there. Right. So cool. So that function now should get those posts, and this is going to get the recent posts. So the next thing is to basically get all of those posts and then add them into a new item. So function to use the recent posts from get recent posts and put them through a OpenAI prompt to, I mean, we don't even need to use an AI prompt, and concat them into a long string and add that to a new Airtable, a new item in the post share table. Oh, I'll just leave it like that. And cool. So I think that's it. So so I don't know if summary is summary is the right field. Cool. Cool. So basically what I will do is I'm just going to put this at the top and then leave all this stuff here and see if that works. So I'm going to do Python curate, LinkedIn authority post / curate LinkedIn, and see if this works. Okay, it obviously made up the Airtable field and I didn't even check that. That was very silly. So new record is it's just going to be called post, I think, but let's check that. So LinkedIn news post, yeah, and then date created, and then all the other fields can be left blank because those will get filled in by other parts of the process or will be filled in manually. Invalid name for column date created. So that gets automatically added by Airtable as well. So it's literally just the post that gets added there. So cool. And you can see that's added that like that. And then we'll just quit it because it's continuing on to do the whole rest of the process. And obviously later on, we'll add this to the bottom. And the only thing that we need to do here is we need to credit the person. So for each post that gets concatenated, we also need to add a text after saying via name, which is the name of the influencer, which is based on which. So this is going to be actually a lot easier if I just add the influencer name, which you can do here because we have this linked field. If you do it that way around, okay, there we go, name, boom. Is in the name field of the, I'll just leave it like that. So let's see if this works. I don't know if I made it super clear to cursor, but it's pretty smart. So let's see, does that look right? Let's try that. So I'm gonna go ahead and delete this one and run the scan. Did anything happen? Nope. API object has no attribute record. API.record. Okay. Okay, that didn't work. Cool. So we'll try that. It might still be wrong because I don't know if it's actually reading the right documentation for this. No. Debug with AI. So I just said, is that the right way to do it? And I mentioned the documentation there. Cool. So hopefully now it's kind of done that based on the actual documentation there. So let's see if that worked. Yeah. So it seems like that's working, except I don't know why it didn't. Okay. I think it didn't add it to this one because these are both from the same person. Cool. That's fine. So, and you can see it's adding that new line. I actually don't want that, so I'm just going to delete that. And basically, what I also want is, so let's just add something like this at the top. So I'm going to say concatenated post equals. Okay. So basically, what we want to do here is just add something like this. So I'm going to say AI update you need to know. And then I want the current date here. Cool. Okay, that's better. AI updates you need to know. I'm not going to copy his way. I'm just going to do it like that. So now I think we're pretty much there. I mean, there's some stuff to like kind of tidy up here. But basically, let's run that. Let's see what it does. Cool. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. So we definitely got pretty close to this kind of style here. And like I said, all we need to do really is when that gets posted to LinkedIn, just quickly hop in and edit it so that we just like write at, and then LinkedIn should automatically allow you to click their name and add them as a mention there. If I wanted to add like a call to action at the bottom, like join my newsletter or something, then I could also just add that back in here by just adding it on the end here. But for now, it's pretty good. So what I'm going to do is in this main function, just need to, before I forget, I'm going to add this to the bottom, and then that will create the post. And then what I need to do is, like the way I like to do this is have this approved checkbox inside of Airtable, and then inside make, you can just connect to Airtable. So let me show you what it looks like for my existing LinkedIn workflows. It's exactly the same thing. It's just for the other content workflow I have where I'm taking in interesting YouTube videos and then adding comments and things on based on that. Exactly the same. So basically you have this Airtable connection and you select the base and then you just enter a formula like this. So it's, and again, you can just ask Claude to write the formula for you because there's some quirks with the way Airtable works. For example, like instead of true or false, it has 1 or 0. Whenever this runs, which for this one, it's set to go every day, but for this news one, obviously you do it like on maybe every Tuesday. And it's going to go through and check this. Is there one that's approved? Okay. And not posted, and order by the most recent. Technically, you don't have to order by the most recent because you could just do it based on, okay, this is going to get checked automatically when it gets posted. So there should really, if everything's working, there should only really be one. So if you want, you can skip that stage. I just added that for completeness, but it doesn't really have to be that. And so as you can see in this workflow that I've got set up, if I just quickly run through it, so we've got this finds one record that is it's approved but not published. If it doesn't find any, it just sends me an email and reminds me to do my job. And then in this case, we're posting an image. I don't think this guy's posting an image with it, so we're not going to do that either. But for my other workflow, you can see there's basically there's the thumbnail images I showed you earlier. So in that case, it downloads the image from Airtable so that it's ready for LinkedIn. And then with LinkedIn, the LinkedIn action in Make basically uploads the file and includes the content here. And then it goes back to Airtable and updates the record. So it basically takes the post ID from LinkedIn and inserts it back into the table, and then it also checks the checkbox to say it was published. And so next time it won't republish it. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm pretty happy with that. This is we've now got this workflow to create this weekly newsletter and credit the people, credit the sources, and if you wanted, you could also email this out to people. So you don't even have to post this on LinkedIn. You could just post this in your email newsletter. This could be a section in your email newsletter, with then your updates about your company as well in there. And if you wanted to still credit these people, it would be even easier actually by email, because you can just directly link to their LinkedIn profile by adding it as just a standard HTML hyperlink here. So that's it. This is obviously a pretty epic long video, but hopefully, whether you're interested in growing your social media or saving time if you're already having to do social media on a regular basis for your own company, for your own solo one-person business, then this should give you some time back once you built it. Or if you're just interested in learning Cursor because it's amazing and this is a great way to learn it by building a real project. Hopefully you got some value out of this, but I'd be really interested to know what you're looking to do next. What other kinds of automations would you be interested in seeing? Please comment below. Thanks for watching this.